Hi friends, welcome back. And to anyone who is new here, my name is Brittany Kelly. I'm a mom of 4 and hopefully you will consider becoming a part of this community by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell. So in today's video, I want to share with you a story that I have not really shared on here before. I've talked a lot about my positive birth experiences, but I never really talked about this birth trauma that I had. With the birth of my 3rd child, my son, everything was great up until a point. And so I want to share this moment with you in case you're a mom and you may have had any experiences like this and you can relate, or kind of like something that moms might want to look out for in their upcoming birth experiences so that they know to advocate for themselves. And one of the main messages also in this story is that doulas are very important. They really can be the difference between life and death, honestly. So I am a big supporter of mothers being able to have access to doulas, and no matter how many children you have, right? I've had a doula for every single last one of my births, and I'll leave in the description box below any of the information for the doula services that I used. One was in New Jersey and one was in Connecticut. So if you live there, this might be helpful to you. Now, let's get into my story. Okay, so I was pregnant with my 3rd child, and I really wanted to have an all-natural birth. So I was very excited about going to the hospital. I was leaving the house. I didn't feel like I was that far along because I used these great pain management techniques, and they really helped me be able to not focus on the pain. And so I felt like it wasn't that much pain, because when I was like 7.5 centimeters with my daughter, my second born, and my firstborn, I was like done, okay? I was like, oh no, stop everything. It was just so unbearable to me because I didn't have the proper techniques to manage the pain and make the pain less and all that. So I had these techniques this time. So I was just like happy and smiling and breathing and chilling. And so I didn't think I was that far along. But my doula, who was at my house at this point, was like, no girl, you need to go. So we went to the hospital, and as we're pulling up, like I feel like I am really getting close to time with the baby. And so we go inside, they rush me in there, and they try to get me to give a urine sample and everything, but I can't do anything. I'm like, no, I literally feel so much pressure. And so at that point my water breaks. They push me on the gurney, and they're like about to go out the door with me, and then they all of a sudden remember, oh my goodness, she's completely naked. Okay. So someone grabs a sheet, throws a sheet on top of me, and then they push me out, and they're just running. And my husband's running beside me, and the doula and the medical professionals. So at this point, my breathing started to change because everyone started to have all of this commotion and making me nervous. And that's something really important to remember when you are birthing, just to always remain calm, because that helps minimize the pain as well as keeps the labor from stalling and all of that good stuff. But my doula was there, so she was cognizant of the fact that my breathing changed. So she told me to shift my breathing back, and that was key to helping me relax and stay calm. And so they get me in there, and they're like, okay, it's time to push. Which, looking back now, I'm just like, who tells you it's time to push? Only you know, okay? If you have a safe, natural, normal, biologically normal birthing experience, you know when it's time to push. So I kind of look back and I'm just like, oh, how dare someone tell me when it's time to push? They didn't know, right? Only I would know. So anyway, they tell me it's time to push, and then I start pushing, and I feel this burning sensation. It's the burning ring of fire, that's what they call it. And I'm pushing, oh God. And but I just had to push through it, push through that burning. And then he came out within a couple pushes. So everything was amazing. I had this natural birth that I wanted, and I was feeling good at first. And then slowly but surely, I started to feel weird. Like I started to feel like the labor wasn't complete. I just didn't feel right. And so at first I'm thinking, oh, maybe that's just because this is the first time that I'm delivering a baby without an epidural. Maybe I just don't know what natural birth feels like, and this is part of the sensation. But then my mind went to this article that I read where this mother she didn't fully deliver her placenta, and she just like dropped dead, like out of nowhere when she was home with her children. And I was like, I just can't let that be me. I have children. I need to be there for them. So I need to say something. So I decided, okay, I'm going to say something. So I'm like, hey, you know, I don't feel right. Okay, I tell them, I don't feel right. And they at first dismissed it, like, oh, you're fine. You're just, you know, excited, a lot's going on, you know, whatever. And so at first I was like, okay. So I listened and I was like, la 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 la, still didn't feel right. I say something again. I don't know, I feel like something's not complete. And they're like, no, you pushed out the placenta, it's fine. Okay. Then I was like, no, Brittany, no, you have to advocate for yourself right now. This is your life. This is not their life. These are your kids. They are not their kids. No one's going to care more than you. You have to push this agenda. And also, I was aware of all of the disparities that are in healthcare when it comes to Black maternal health care, when it comes to Black maternal mortality rates. I was already aware of all of this information. So I was like, girl, do not, you know, don't be a part of that statistic right now. You have to say something. So I looked to my doula and I'm just like, I don't feel right. I need them to check me. I need them to do something. So she spoke up for me. She started to fight for me and say, look, can she get checked? Can you get an ultrasound? Can you get something going to just confirm that she feels that what she's feeling is fine, that there's no problem. So they get an ultrasound machine finally. And then all of a sudden their faces completely change. They're like, oh my God, she has so many blood clots. The rest of the placenta is not out of her. Like if your placenta stays inside you even a small bit, it's deadly, okay? And I knew that. So when they said this, I went into complete shock because I knew that the entire situation just changed from this beautiful natural birth to an emergency. So, of course, at that time, then they have to medicate me for pain management. I'm not having surgery natural. That's ridiculous. So they got the medicate, you know, the thing to numb me and all that stuff. And then they proceeded to change into all of this, you know, surgical type garb, and everything just got very serious, very fast. They removed the placenta, the rest that was there, and my husband was holding my son the whole time. He was fine, but this was really, really shocking for me. And my baby didn't latch to nurse until like the next day. Like for 24 hours he wouldn't latch, and I didn't know if it was because I immediately needed to have surgery, so I didn't get to really nurse him within the first, like, you know, couple minutes of birthing. But whatever it was, he was not trying to nurse for me for 24 hours, so we had to just do skin to skin, and that helped keep his blood sugar levels normal and everything like that, thank God. But it was just very, very, very scary. So I wanted to share that story with you because if you don't feel right, if you feel like something is wrong, don't let anybody tell you that nothing's wrong until they have confirmed with you with hard evidence that nothing is wrong. Do not just go by, oh, they're just looking at you and they're like, oh, you look fine. That you look fine can be based on a lot of things, including bias. So please always advocate for yourself, push for someone to check you, double check you, have your support system there who can also advocate for you as well, because you're in such a vulnerable state that you're willing to just be like, okay, you know, everything's fine, because you want everything to be fine. But it's very important for your safety to definitely make sure you have someone there who's going to advocate for you, and of course to also advocate for yourself. I know that doulas really help with the percentages of cesareans, medical intervention, and maternal deaths. They decrease these things. So I am a big supporter of having a doula, and I am so grateful to my doula who literally saved my life that day, and I just couldn't be more happy. I've had support in person. I've had support even on the phone this last time because of the restrictions in the hospital because of 2020. It was just, I couldn't have her at the time in person, and she was just so pivotal in us having a safe car birth. So I just wanted to share that story with you. I hope that you are able to have a wonderful, healthy birth. If you have already had your kids and you already have these wonderful birth stories, please share your birth story and your delivery stories in the comment section below. You never know how your story can really help another mom or relates to another mom. So with that said, you guys, I will see you in the comment section.